Ed Albright. For more than 30 years, Ed has contributed his leadership, dedication, and knowledge to the credit union movement. After working on as an NCUA examiner for more than a decade, he became the manager, CEO, and treasurer of Dannemora Federal Credit Union. Successfully leading the credit union, he also distinguished himself as an influential figure in the New York credit union community. In addition to his responsibilities at Dannemora Federal Credit Union, Ed served in multiple leadership roles for the Credit Union Association of New York and the Adirondack chapter. Most notably, he served as both director of the association and as president of the Adirondack chapter. He also distinguished himself as an active credit union advocate, serving as his chapter's QLEC-QPAC trustee and representing New York credit unions at federal and state governmental affairs conferences. Since retiring from Dannemora Federal Credit Union in 2004, Ed has remained dedicated to the credit union movement. He also continues to advocate for the future livelihood of credit unions, lending his insights and energies to key issues like the corporate credit union system. Whether providing consultation, guidance, or auditing services, Ed is always willing to assist a credit union or an individual in need. In fact, when Dannemora Federal Credit Union was recently left without a CEO, Ed came out of retirement and resumed his role as CEO for 9 months until a new leader could be hired. From his efforts as a credit union leader to his commitment as a member of the state and nationwide credit union movement, Ed has truly exemplified the spirit of credit unions. Ed, please join us.
Good morning. Good morning. Fellow credit union directors, New York State Credit Union directors, committee members, President Bill Ellen, credit union staff members from the league. I'll still call it the league, I'm sorry, because that's when I was here. It's changed. Committee members, credit union members, and guests. Thanks to the Dannemora Federal Credit Union for nominating me, the Credit Union Hall of Fame for selecting me, to the Credit Union Association of New York Hall of Fame. It's an honor to be included with individuals who have dedicated their life to improving the standard of living of New York credit union members. When I first joined the credit union movement, it's kind of surprising. As an examiner from NCUA in the Schenectady area, I didn't know the first thing about a credit union. I didn't even know what a credit union was. Steep learning curve I had. NCUA examiner Tony LaRose required examiners at that time to attend chapter and district meetings. Interacting with credit union directors, committee members, league staff at the Albany, Schenectady, and Adirondack social and educational meetings, plus working with lead consultant Andy Waymeyer, who was the first member of the New York State Credit Union Hall of Fame, and National Federation of Community Development Credit Union Technical Assistant Director Brian Gately, nurtured my belief that credit unions existed to help their members. That to me is the key. Whatever anybody wants to say, I do hope members come first. This is what, I don't want to say that, this is what bothered me more than anything else from the troubles we've had in the credit union movement the last several years. Why don't people think of members? If we didn't have members, we wouldn't have a credit union system. That's the bottom line. There's a lot of people, I go back, who gave their lives to help, and some of the mistakes were made. Drives me nuts, but sideline. I don't want to sideline. But just let me give you a quick, brief idea of things that happened from credit unions since 1970. First started, majority of credit unions in Northeast New York State were house jobs. Most people don't know what that is. That's when the credit unions run out of people's houses. Majority of credit unions in Northeast New York State, only 6 out of the 120 credit unions in the 3 districts, Albany, Schenectady, and the Adirondacks, were $1 million. State employees, which was chartered for over 40 years, was only $1 million. Today, SFQ has over $2 billion in assets. There was 8 GE credit unions that served the Schenectady GE workers. Today there's 1, Sunmar. Capital. Credit unions in the old days didn't have capital. The Red Reserve exceeded undivided earnings. Today, the credit union has 4 to 6% capital. It doesn't even exist hardly. In the old days, that was a norm, and it was based on outstanding loans, not total assets. Corporate credit unions, which is dear to my heart, were dear to my heart, I gotta say that, were. They were created by NCUA to help provide liquidity for credit unions. I was fortunate enough to be the first coordinator from NCUA to handle, to examine corporate credit unions. In those days, we made sure the credit unions followed the slide principle of investing. And they ran a matched book, which means maturities and assets and liabilities were matched. I don't know what happened, but boy, it cost the credit unions billions of dollars. But that's hindsight. Another thing that's interesting is when I joined the Anamora Federal Credit Union, it's $10 billion in assets, 2% capital, 2.4 to be exact. Now it's over $100 million with over 13% capital. Credit unions today, 2.4% capital, wouldn't even exist. There were over 1,000 credit unions in New York State in the 70s. Today is around 450. One has to wonder, is the emerging of credit unions due to members wanting more services, which is legitimate, a lack of adequate succession planning, or overzealous reaction by regulators? I don't know the answer to that one. I'll leave that one going. But a lot of things have happened in the credit union movement in the last 35 years. The one thing I'm very proud of is my service to the New York State Credit Union League and a member of the QAC committees, working with fellow Hall of Famers, Miles Cassera, Mary Jane Bowles, Bill Johnson, Harold Corman, Murray Belzer, Raymond Johnson, Ray Card, Joe McManus, Sam Cardino, and Sam Gardino. It was a great time. I enjoyed it. The most thing I'm proud of during that time, and I said it to Bill before, we hired Bill as our president. He's done a great job. Really appreciate your work as leading the New York State Credit Unions. Really appreciate that, Bill. Members are the key. The one thing that hasn't changed, I'll shorten it here because throwing darts at me, I'm just kidding. The one thing that has changed throughout the whole period of the credit union movement is credit unions helping credit unions. Through chapter meetings, district meetings, and New York State manager meetings, credit unions help each other develop and improve member services. The Dannemora Federal Credit Union benefited immensely from several credit unions helping. In particular, I want to mention Wilton Smead and fellow Hall of Fame member Bev Towers from Hudson River Community Credit Union, Bill Bohr and Pat Calhoun from SEFCU, Harold Horning and Dennis Halpin from Capcom, and Bud Brooks from CCOM. Those credit unions went out of their way to help Dannemora implement and upgrade its services to help its members. And we were, from Dannemora, truly appreciate that. And I hope that continues with it. As I've been told, credit unions helping each other. Credit unions, membership, as I said, is the key. If the board of directors make decisions and think about members first, I don't think there's anything credit unions can't accomplish. I really feel this. And the other thing I want to say is there's 2 things I remember that was told to me and I'll never forget. One was by New York State Congressman John McHugh, and another was a credit union member from Dannemora. Congressman McHugh, when I used to visit him during our visits at the Highton Hill, he said, "Ed, I received hundreds of letters from credit union members upstate New York saying they love their credit union, but he never received one, and I don't mean this way, from a bank customer saying they love their bank. The second thing is, I was sitting in my office one day, off the lobby, a member walks up to me and says, "Ed, the shingles on the roof are buckling." I said, "What? No, you're kidding me. The building's only 2 years old." He says, "They are." I said, "No, I believe we have 2 different types of shingles up there." He says, "Well, I want to tell you, Ed, it's my money to build this building, and I want to make sure the work is done right." That shows you, members may have always made a difference and will make a difference. Our system is a capitalistic society. I understand that. But a board of directors should, I feel, always make decisions based on what's best for members. Members' perceptions should not be taken lightly. I want to thank everybody I've worked with and helped out, especially the staff at Danamora, who did a great job helping people. Our credit union, and nationally, people like the credit union. I've worked with a lot of people, and I don't mean it this way, meeting, working, volunteers, professionals, and staff members who dedicated their lives to improving people's solvency, financial solvency, and financial strength. Thank you. I enjoyed it. It was a great run. I wish everybody the best of luck in credit unions and addressing future challenges. Thank you very much.